Hey, what's up, guys? On this episode of Blood, Sweat, and Gear, first of all, we're going to discuss getting back in the gym and getting your program back together after they open again. Plus, we have a little side topic, superstitions and our little weird OCD behaviors that we do in bodybuilding. Plus, we have a plethora of listener questions. We're going to get to all that right now here at Blood, Sweat, and Gear. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Blood, Sweat, and Gear. I'm Scott McNally with Skip, Hill, and S2H. Our programming is brought to you by TrueNutrition.com. You can use our code ADVICES for some additional savings. Everything is third-party tested, high-quality supplements, and we have a new sponsor. Skip, you haven't gotten your package in the mail yet, but we are now sponsored by AZOTH. This is a fantastic nootropic product. I've been using them for at least a couple of years now. So I want to see what you think about their products because it's fantastic. Like, since you're into writing, I want to get you to take like a dose of AZOTH before you sit down to do some writing and see what happens.
Is it going to help my wit?
Absolutely.
Humor?
Your sharpness.
Okay.
Yes, all of that. Well, guys, we have a bunch of stuff going on today. We have two topics to start with. Plus, we have a plethora of listener questions. Did you like that? I
like that.
That was good. That was good. 4-point word there. And if you guys want to add any questions into the feed, feel free. We'd be happy to take your questions here on the show today. So to start us out, I had a topic. We talked a little bit about this on BNR, Bodybuilding Nerds Radio, if you guys don't listen. And I wanted to get your opinions on this. Now, as if you guys haven't tuned into the show before, Skip, Hill, S2H, these guys have been around the bodybuilding industry for a long time. Skip has been coaching for 43 years now.
I started when I was 4. Yeah.
Right out of the womb.
But, long time. And, this is the first time we've ever had a quarantine, that the point where most of us haven't been able to go to the gyms. Everything is starting to open back up now. And I don't know about everybody else, but, man, I can't wait to get back in the gym and get back to making the progress that I was like having so much fun doing before. But I know that I'm not going to go back in the gym and like pick up right where I left off. I think it's an important topic to talk about. Maybe some things we should consider getting back into the gym. And we talked a little bit about this, via text before the show. So I know you guys have both had a little bit of time to think about it. Skip, what would be one of the points you think would be worth considering in this situation?
Well, the large majority of people are going to go back in and they're not going to back off at all. And they're going to come back in crazy. And they're going to be like, I've been out of the gym for so long, screw it, I'll just be sore and everything else. With that, obviously, comes the risk of not just injury, but, tapping into and starting out your journey back in the gym, with shitty recovery and everything else. So, yeah, breaking in, lower volume, a little bit lower intensity. Everybody trains a little bit differently, but if you're training to failure, going back into the gym and training to failure would be a really bad idea. It depends, too, what you have been doing during quarantine. If you've been training with resistance bands and everything else, and you're actually training hard. I've got some clients who are busting their asses and very resourceful, with their resistance band type workouts and stuff. They're going to be able to come back a little bit quicker than those who haven't been doing anything at all. So it depends on your current level. It depends on whether you're doing anything at all. If you're sitting on your couch eating Cheetos and Mountain Dew, you're probably going to struggle those first few weeks. But the truth is, a large majority of people aren't going to heed much of the advice that we say. They're going to go back in and start, busting balls because everybody can't wait to get back in there.
Yeah. What about like supplementation? I know a lot of people have, come off the gear or they're cruising. What do you think about, hopping back on a cycle? Because that was one of the things I was considering. I talked to a guy who was like, hey, I was thinking about starting up, he just does TRT. And he was like, I was thinking about adding in a little bit of trend. And for some reason, it just rubbed me the wrong way that like, after you've had a long shutdown, I don't know if trend's the first thing I would jump toward just because it kicks in trend ace, it kicks in fast. And before you know it, it's like, I feel like my strength is it's going to increase quickly as it is. I don't know if I need to take something that's going to like shoot that through the roof on top of it.
Yeah, if you're going to get on something, just get on super draw. I mean, let's not cut any corners. Let's just jump right into the deep end with both feet.
Yeah.
No, I don't see any reason to. And again, it comes back to the psychology of where that person is. Some people just want back in and they want to jump back in both feet, and I get that. It doesn't seem seems counterintuitive to me, because the first 3 or 4 weeks, you're going to gain, your strength back, get your nutrition down, get your diet, basically find your rhythm.
Yeah.
Get some momentum, find that structure again and your groove. And I would say after 3 or 4 weeks, I think a lot of people are going to get back a good or a sizable portion of where they were prior to, we've only been off. Well, I say I haven't, but large majority of people have been off only really for a couple of months.
Yeah.
So that can come back relatively quickly. Personally, if it were me and I had been off for a couple of months, I wouldn't jump back on cycle right away. I'd wait a month. I might wait 4 or 6 weeks. And I would just go with how I feel. If I feel like my recovery is going well and everything, sure. If you jump on cycle right away, of course it's going to help your recovery, out of the gates. And the other argument is, well, it takes 3 or 4 weeks for long esters to kick in. I mean, I can see people kicking in their brain. So there's an argument there. At the same time, though, just like with anything else, get what you can without the cycle and then get back on your cycle. Find your rhythm.
Yeah. What do you think, Scott? I know you've been putting a little thought into this one, too.
Just take a bunch of gear and go.
Yeah, there's your option gear versus no gear.
I'd say this, lift. When that weird soreness, the new soreness goes away, like the soreness I have right now, places you don't normally get sore. When you're going to the gym regular, then you can start kicking it up from there. So after a couple of weeks,
Yeah.
like my calves are like so sore right now.
Yeah.
From just doing the treadmill, like elevated cardio. I mean, they're like freaky sore.
I feel like Scott's kind of bragging right now that he's been going to the gym. What do you think, Skip?
Yeah,
it was just this week. So I mean, I was curling 40s. It felt like I had Volkswagens in my hands, and it was like, oh, But yeah, so that everybody knows that like new sore when you haven't done anything in a while. Once that new sore kind of passes after a couple of weeks, then I would say you could start lifting it up at a couple notches. Bring the training up more if you want to introduce some supplements or something. But just get through that first couple of weeks of that I forgot what this feels like sore.
Yeah.
What's the definition of new sore? Basically, if you're not in the gym and you're just doing regular everyday things and you have to keep telling yourself, God damn, I'm sore, just from walking or reaching for something,
yeah,
that's your new sore.
Yeah.
No, I mean, if you haven't gone to the gym for a while or lifted much because of this stuff, and 2 months, most people are going to go back in. They're going to be sore in places they normally would not have really been sore in before.
Sure. Yeah. Hypothetically, had I started going back to the gym a few weeks ago, my chest was just like utterly fried after that first workout. That was new sore. There was no question about it. I got kind of a related thing that we had been talking about as well was muscle loss. In bodybuilding, we are terrified of muscle loss. I remember years ago being like, well, I'm going to leave the house for 2 hours, but just in case it's 2.5 hours, I better bring this protein shake with me because I don't want to lose muscle. We've had a pretty long stint where we haven't been able to train the way we normally would. Like I said, a lot of people have kind of geared down. Skip, with your clients, you see a wide range of people. Do you feel like people have lost any kind of substantial amount of muscle without being able to hit it, balls out training for the last couple months?
I take issue with the term lost muscle.
Okay.
I understand why you're phrasing it that way, and I understand that most people would. It's just that it's more an atrophy from lack of being used. So the reason that I point this out is it's just as simple as using the muscle again and starting to train again. And it's like filling a balloon with air. You still have the balloon. It's just not filled with air like it was before. Yeah. So getting it back is relatively I think that it isn't going to take people very long at all. My clients aren't a very good example because I've been fortunate that 95% of my clients are incredibly resourceful and have had options to train, which I really didn't think at the beginning. I mean, I thought half of my clients would be, like, oh my God, or just strictly unmotivated and be like, yeah, fuck it, I'm not. Look, I'm gonna be honest. If it were me, I'm just being transparent. If it were me and I had to work out with resistance bands, I probably would have sat on my fucking couch.
You would have been
I'm kind of like that. I've been doing this shit for 35 years, and I'm looking at it going, you know what? I'm going to get it back so quick anyway. I'm not going to sit here and get fat, but I'm not going to train with all this stupid shit, smack myself in the face, end up on gym fuckery because I, hit myself in the balls with a resistance band or something fucked up or hurt myself, when I can just sit here and wait it out.
Watch some Ozark again.
Yeah, exactly. Find something to do. There's nothing left on Netflix that I haven't seen. To be honest, it's horrible. I'm running out of stuff to watch.
I finished Ozark, by the way. Like,
Ozark is the best series out right now.
We got to the end, and well, first of all, Victoria doesn't really do like real dramatic shows like that. So it was a lot to get her to watch it. But we got to the end, and we had to like start taking breaks. Like, there's like 3 episodes left, and we're like, no, we're not going to watch the next one tonight. It's just too much. And finally, we got to that point where, like, after 5 days off, we finally watched the last episode of the season. And man, after that, I was like, fuck yeah. Now I want to see the next one.
Fuck yeah. Now I got to wait another year
for
it to come out again. It's like, I wish I would have spaced it out, be honest with you. But I binge watched it with my wife in probably 5 days.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how bad it is. I love that show.
Yeah. So I agree with you about the muscle loss thing. I think that, I haven't seen really any muscle loss, even from the people that haven't been able to train much. They just, I haven't seen it's not as bad as I would have thought it would have been, really, is what it comes down to, It just kind of reaffirms. There's a larger
psychological component, I think.
Yeah.
We all tend to look at ourselves differently. It's, if we miss a scheduled workout, we feel smaller. Yeah. We don't look any different to anybody else, and probably not even to ourselves, but we tend to have this different view. And when it starts into weeks and, you take a vacation, you come back, and usually within a week, you take a week vacation, you come back within a week, you look just like you did, unless you got fat. You look just like you did after a week of being back, on the wagon, so to speak. So I think it'll come back relatively quickly. And the other component here that shouldn't be overlooked is the motivation factor. People are going to go in and want to rip that fucking gym apart.
Yeah, they are.
It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to hold back, but at the same time, I think it's going to help with motivation. All the aches and the pains. A lot of people are overtrained. Metabolically, they've been dieting for a long time. Women are horrible for this, much worse than guys.
Yeah.
The break probably going to be good for a lot of people.
Sure. My like injuries, all my little nags and stuff, they all feel a lot better. Oh, here's a comment you can't relate to, Skip. Paige says, I don't think I've lost any muscle, but the lack of tan I have now is a total mindfuck. I need a tanning bed.
Yeah. Hey, I spent a lot of time. I'm fortunate that my wife runs the property because I've been able to go up on the roof and tan up there. Otherwise, I'm sure I'd have been like, oh, shit, I'm getting white again.
I don't know if that's possible. S2H, are you aware of how many comments we get on the YouTube about Skip and his melanotin and his skin tone? Like, are you aware? Every show, at least, there's at least one person.
Skip. As soon as I see Skip, the S and the K, I just skip it.
Yeah, everybody always has a comment.
He's been on his apartment roof, in his banana hammock, posing.
Butt naked. Nobody can see me up there.
Well, they're not going to see much with you naked.
I sent a picture to my wife at work while I was up there, and she's like, oh, my God, you can't do it. Yes, I can. Nobody's up here. I got the key. I'm good. Unless somebody has to fix the satellite dish or an air conditioner, I'm good. And I know all the maintenance guys, so I'm good to go.
All right. Listen, I've got a second topic for us. This is an off-topic thing. So I was training today at my house, at my home gym, and I was putting I had a friend and client over, Vache. Speaking of which, Vache brought me these. I wanted to show you guys these. You ever see these things, Skip?
God. No, but that is
notes for you.
They're obscene, dude. Dude, they're obscene. Look at this. This is it's like 2 double stuffs stuck together.
That's looks like a mini ice cream sandwich.
It basically is. It basically is. Anyway, though, thank you, Vach. we were putting a bar together, and he with the plates we use in the old school plates, there was a front and a back to the plate. Nowadays, like if you go in the gym, all the plates, all the 45s and stuff, it's like the same plate on both sides. But like the old school plates, they had a front and then they had a flat back. And he put them on with the words facing out. And I said, no, you got to turn that around. And the way I was raised, I was told that you always loaded the plates with the words facing inward. The thing that I was supposed to do, that you never did it with the words facing out. So he never heard of that. I texted you guys. Now, had either of you guys ever heard of doing that before?
Yeah, because they slide off easier. If you face them with the words in, when you clamp them down, they stay locked in tighter. But not from not from a superstitious standpoint.
Okay.
I think it's a grip thing. It's a hand grip thing. When the numbers are facing inward, you're talking about the typical standard Olympic plates. Yeah. When they're facing in, your fingers will be able to grab the ridge when you pull the plate off so that you can hold it.
Okay.
Now, because of that, and I'm old school, it's the same shit. All the numbers go in. More importantly, they either all go in or they all go out. I don't care if they're out. In fact, just because I like doing shit that other people don't do, I do put all the numbers out.
Do you?
I for some reason I want them out. I think it's just because I'm not supposed to. Like I'm doing something, unique or taboo. Exactly. I'm a rebel and that type of bullshit. But they can't go one way or the other. And I'm also very particular. I will hunt through the gym for the same plates. I'm not going to have a skinny 45 and a heavy 45. And this is the truth.
Wait, you said a skinny and a heavy.
Oh yeah, skinny and a
but
thick.
I know what you mean, though. I know what you mean, because then you look at it and you're like, no, that doesn't add up,
Well, and not all plates. I know they say 45, but I've been around long enough that when I was a teenager, I had Joe Weider plates that were 25 pounds at home.
Yeah.
And I got mad one time because I'm like, one of these fucking plates weighs more than the other. And I weighed them, and god damn it, they were it was 2.5 pounds off, and I could always feel the difference. So from that's
a big difference.
It is, exactly. And if you did that, if they're not all the same, then you could end up with an even bigger disparity when you start to put, especially with 25s, if you have 3 or 4 on each side. So from that day forward, a long time ago, I ended up that I get the same plates. Now, if it's a fixed machine, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
But if I'm, benching or squatting or doing rows, they got to be the same. But I put the numbers out. I'm a numbers out guy.
Yeah, we did that. Like Shelby Starnes taught me that, like that he had to have the same ones always on. He loosened up on that like later, but like I know there was a time where it was like you just made a match, even if you had to go all the way to the other side of the gym.
Exactly.
Now I saw this as a superstition. I guess you could also call it kind of like an OCD thing. So it led me to a question. What are some of the OCD things that you guys have noticed about yourselves in bodybuilding? And I guess, Scott, we haven't talked to you as much yet, so let me hear what's something you've got for us.
In bodybuilding or just in weightlifting in general?
Both, yeah, either.
I'll give you one. In bodybuilding, when dudes rub oil on other dudes' legs, and tanner and all that crap before they compete, just, I don't know. To me, that's kind of, I don't want no dude rubbing, oil or tanning lotion on me.
No, you're worried you're going to get a hard on and someone's going to know you're gay. I mean,
well, no,
that's respectable if that's what it is.
Like it when I cheat on her, but I'd say from a powerlifting standpoint, I had a certain set of wraps, a certain belt, a certain pair of shorts, certain shoes, socks that I like to wear, and I don't think it wasn't superstitious. It was just what was the most comfortable and what I liked, what felt loose enough, or especially when it came to like socks and shoes. Certain, like if I was going to deadlift, I had to use certain kind of shoes. I didn't like to be in other ones because you get used to a certain kind of balance, your feet on the floor.
Sure.
So yeah, I would like, especially wrist wraps and knee wraps. I would never like to have to borrow somebody's.
No.
Use a new pair. It would have to be like the exact same ones that were all broken in.
Yeah.
So when you wrap them, they're all just perfect. Yeah, that would throw me off.
You know what? I think that for a lot of people, pre-workout, I mean, that's something that obviously when did pre-workout really get popular? Like maybe a decade ago? Maybe, would you say ballpark?
Probably.
Like before, for all of us who have been training since before that, we're like, you don't need pre-workout, But I think for a lot of the people who've been raised training with pre-workout, that's part of the ritual. That's part of the thing. Like you take this before you train. I wonder how much of it is psychological. I mean, there is obviously a benefit. A lot of us have taken time off of pre-workout training it with bands at home, and we're wondering to ourselves, like, why do I not feel as energized doing this right now? Because you didn't take 300 milligrams of caffeine before you started, But
you're at home and you're using resistance bands. That
right.
could be part of it.
And didn't take an obscene dose of stimulants on top of it. It's like you're in a lose-lose situation there. I think I'm just thinking offhand now. I feel like that's almost part of like a ritual too. But how about you, Skip? What's outside of the plates thing? What's an OCD thing that you do?
Music.
Yeah.
I have a very peculiar, and it is superstition. It may not be for Scott, but these things are for me.
Yeah.
I have I'm highly structured and highly routine to the point of being boring. It's a joke with my kids and a little bit with my wife as well. But when it comes to bodybuilding, it is very OCD. And I think with music, something that I've always said, and this means nothing. And I know that it's not true when I break it down logically, but I will listen after my back injuries. When I train legs, I only listen to one song. I repeat it.
Yeah.
The whole workout, every working set. I listen to and I started over every working set. I know when I'm approaching a bar or weight, and that sort of thing. And there is and if I'm off, then I start it over and I start over. I don't.
Dude, I thought I was the only person that did that.
No, what it is for me is I have this thing in my brain where I have not had a back injury in over 4 years now.
Yeah.
And I feel like that one particular song.
Oh, it's always the same?
It's always the same song. Always the same song.
Can you tell us what that song is?
See, I was going to not mention it just so that people would be like, what song? You didn't mention the song. You didn't. and the truth is the song isn't going to, it has meaning to me.
Yeah.
But it's not going to have any meaning to anybody
What's the song,
else.
Skip? What's the song?
And it's Until I Collapse. Eminem.
Okay.
Yeah, there's just something, the words, the music itself and everything. It's almost in my mind, psychologically, it's protective.
That's in your, what's your hashtag? You have a hashtag. You use that hashtag too.
Until I Collapse. Yeah. Well, it was also the name of the first DVD too.
Okay. That's cool. I have a t-shirt that
songs I would always play for like heavy lifts.
Yeah.
It's changed over the years. Yeah.
Come, chameleon.
Get it, Scott.
You come and go.
I tumble for you.
Please put oil on my legs so that I can go out on stage tan with a heart.
Okay. Enough with Skip songs for little small lifts.
Yeah, I've never thought twice about the oil thing. That's never been a consideration for me.
That's because you're secure in your sexuality and that sort of thing. You don't consider, like, basically you don't think you're going to catch the gay.
But the clothes.
That's from Texas. The gay is contagious in Texas. You can't catch that shit down there because your man card gets revoked right away.
This comes from a guy living in Miami.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm in liberal country here, man. Listen, if a gay dude tells me that I got a nice ass, I'm calling my wife going, dude told me my fucking ass is fine.
You're feeling good about yourself that day.
Yeah, listen, I don't get enough compliments for starters.
Yeah.
So when I get them, I'm just glad I got them. I'm good with it.
So starved for compliments and get his confidence going.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't need that.
Starved. It's not starved, but I'm comfortable with it. I'm not going to be getting tan stain on backstage and all of a sudden go, oh shit, what is that? That's not going to happen. I'm not worried about that.
Yeah. I have a t-shirt that I wear only, like, it's a t-shirt I bought and I didn't plan for it to be like a training shirt. And now I only wear it. Initially it was only on leg day, but now I wear it on back day as well. And only those 2 days does it ever go on. I've never been like, oh, it's clean, I'll wear it. It's only ever been like, I'm going to the gym. I'm training legs. I put on the T-shirt. That's it. It's my Metallica Master of Puppets shirt. That's it.
Metallica was my band for lifting.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I listened to Master of Puppets literally every day that I trained for like the first 2 years of my serious lifting. It was the only thing I had, like on my iPod, I think it was, or my MP3 player. Yeah, I had like a shuffle, and that's what was on it. And I was like, that's all I wanted to hear, So
a shuffle. That's funny. I had a shuffle too, and I'd clip it to the bill of my hat because I reach it and wrap all the wires around so they didn't get in the way. I remember that's banned. We dated ourselves on that one.
Yeah, no kidding. All right. Well, I'm sure we can think of a lot of other things. Guys, if you have any crazy rituals, any superstitions, we want to hear about them. Do me a favor, comment below. Let us know what your superstitions and rituals are. It's some fun stuff to talk about. Let's take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we have like a gazillion listener questions.
Gazillion.
A bold and battle-ready focus formula that takes no prisoners and shows no mercy.
All right, guys, welcome back to Blood, Sweat, and Gear with Skip Hill and S2H. I'm Scott McNally. We are recording this live at the Advices Radio Facebook group. Anybody who wants to add some questions in, feel free. As I see, we have a bunch of them that are gathering. We got some comments on the previous episode. This is from Cam. He says, Skip, please don't make us go through watching S2H eat food during the show again. Thanks.
No shit. Yeah, you got a bowl of chips there. Exactly.
Those are fat-free Cheetos.
I was just getting ready to say, I'm like, oh shit, and I didn't go into detail. I'm like, oh, I'm prepping, I got to get my food. I'm going low blood. And all of a sudden he just blurts out, I got to eat. I haven't eaten since 2:00. You're not gonna starve. You could have eaten at some point between 2 and 7. What the fuck?
Oh, I was fading bad on that show. I was fading bad.
We went long too. We went like almost 2 hours, I think, on that episode. I've gotten people, like 3 people messaged me in the last 10 days who have said, hey, why don't you guys do like a 3-hour podcast anymore? Why don't you guys? Yeah, there's people out there. I get it. I used to listen to podcasts at work nonstop. So I'd love, if I saw 3 hours, I'd be like, hell yeah, I get to hang out with Skip and S2H for 3 hours and not think about my job. That'd be fun.
But then somebody will bitch it's too long.
Yeah, that's true.
Just gives them more time to complain about my heart rate, my eyes, my breathing, how I'm going to die from a heart attack, that sort of thing.
So I had some questions here. Let me see. There was a couple of them that we had private messaged to us. So I think that'd be a good place to start.
I just took a D-ball.
Nice. Ooh, how about this? This is not quite like directly science related, I don't think. Could be. Depends on how you answer it. Fighters and boxers are told to abstain before a fight to make them more aggressive. Is this only due to aggression, or is there a correlation between sex and masturbation and loading testosterone? Skip, have you ever your coach?
There was a study done on this.
Yeah.
Does it hinder your performance? And I don't remember exactly. I'm going to paraphrase a lot here, but the study came down to, as long as you don't bust a nut like immediately before you go into that activity, I think it was within 30 or 45 minutes or maybe an hour, then they didn't see, there wasn't any real performance issues. But if you did it like right before you were going to fight, whatever, play a sport, lift, whatever, then there was some negative effects to it. And I don't remember why.
Well, I think it's, and I'm going to speculate here, but based on the information that I've come across, post-sex is a very relaxing the hormones that are secreted by the body at that time are very relaxing, helps to, like put you to bed, calm you down, that sort of thing. So it makes
dopamine,
sense.
serotonin.
Yeah, it makes sense from a hormone standpoint that there's a window of time after, and I'm going to use Scott's phrase of busting a nut.
Scientific phrase.
Yeah, scientific, yeah.
Hey, it works, dude.
Yeah, no, everybody knows what you're talking about. I get it. So, I mean, I can certainly see that. I don't want to get into too much information, but
you didn't want to get too scientific on us?
I hit it and gone to train, and I haven't noticed. I've trained legs after now exhaustive. See, there's different types of sex though. There's sex with your wife, and then there's sex where you're trying to impress the new girlfriend that you have. So if you're going to go for 3.5 hours and pretend you're a porn star and you're trying to reel them in like you've got this giant award-winning fish that you're trying to reel in, I don't know if fucking for 3.5 hours and then going and trying to train legs would be a very good idea. But I've been married for 30 years, so I'm quite efficient in the process. Thank you.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. I thought that would be kind of a fun one to start with here. We've got a ton more, and I see that there's more coming in the feed too. Question for the show, if you guys find it the time. Well, we've got the time. Tips on reducing creatinine levels. Current levels are 1.45. Different training styles. Then he's got other questions too. So basically, reducing kidney values.
Stay hydrated.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest players in that. A lot of people think they drink enough water. Avoid sodas too. So hydrate. I think a lot of people see their creatinine levels drop if they stay well hydrated.
I think the number one thing that's going to impact kidney function is high blood pressure over time, too. I think a lot of people don't respect, and especially in the gear community, the bodybuilding community, that sort of thing. My blood pressure's a little high.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool. And that may be okay when you're 25 because you've got time. But if you're 50, hypothetically, and you've been doing shit for a long time, it's really not a very good idea to run very high because over time there is minor and slow damage taking place, with your kidneys, and anything that impacts kidney function is just really, it's not a good. It's kind of like smoking. On a day-to-day basis, having high blood pressure for one day or a week isn't really that big of a deal. But you smoke for 20 years, or if you have high blood pressure for 20 years, you're gambling. So from a creatinine standpoint, it's tough too because supplements can impact creatinine levels. Training prior to doing a blood draw is going to impact, the reads that you get as well. So it's always good to not train for a couple days if you can prior to a blood draw, so that the creatinine levels aren't raised just strictly through soreness, from training. So there's some things in there. Hydration, I completely agree with. Hydration is key. I don't even know that
your kidneys it's a filter. So if you don't flush that filter, that's when you start having problems. And I can see hypertension depending on what's causing your hypertension, but it's an issue too. But I've always found people have high creatinine levels. It's like, how much water do you drink? Oh, I drink a ton. Well, how much is a ton? I drink 3 12-ounce bottles a day.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not a ton. And usually when they up their water, they see those levels drop. And especially like post-training and stuff like that. If you train, you're dehydrated. You don't rehydrate the body. You don't have a good filtering process.
I think too, it's important not to focus on just one read or one marker when it comes to, kidney value. Looking at one specific thing, I think, can be incredibly misleading. If you look at everything, whether it's a bun or albumin, if you're losing protein in your urine, that's a big deal. That's when it comes down to the GFR and the it's kind of the
overall number.
Yeah, basically an overall number of the health of your kidney. The GFR is huge. I think that is really incredibly important because it kind of just wraps everything up together and gives you a very, I don't know if it's black and white, but you have a bad GFR number, you got to take that pretty fucking seriously. If you have a good GFR number, but you have a higher creatinine level or you're having problems with bun numbers and things, those things can I don't think it's as significant, or it's as should be as an alarm, as much of an alarm or as alarming. But that GFR is huge.
Okay, I've got one here now. I thought, and I mentioned it back to him. This was on DM at Instagram. I thought he might have been a little confused on this, but we'll find out from you, Skip. He says, "Hey man, quick question. I remember hearing on one of your podcasts recently about Skip reintroducing GH after not using it for years, and now he swears by the new protocol. Do you remember what episode that was and what the dosing and protocol he was using?" And I thought that you reintroduced IGF. And that was a changer. That's what I said to him, but I figured I'd ask.
That's what came to mind when you were reading that. I hadn't used GH as much as I have over the last few years. So, I mean, I guess I've come back to GH a little bit, but the new protocol and using IGF is what stands out in my mind. When that was or what episode. I get those questions a lot sometimes.
Yeah. Episodes ago.
And I'm like, man, I can't tell you because, I mean, as soon as
you don't even remember what today is. Like, what did we talk about earlier in the show?
Yeah, we've done so many podcasts that honestly, I can't even recall. Sometimes things will come out, or the show will come out on Thursday, and I'll get questions, and I'm thinking, man, we only recorded 4 days ago. But I'm trying to run over in my head what we discussed, and it's very difficult for me to even recall, the large majority of the information that we discussed 4 days prior. So I don't know about that. The GH protocol, if anybody's concerned, I mean, I train on a 2-on-1 off rotation. And I take my growth, 2-on-1 off. I basically take it on all training days. If I take an extra day off, then I will still take my GH on the day off. But it's a 2-on-1 off primarily. And right now, because I'm cutting, I take it twice a day. I split it.
Ooh, getting all fancy on us.
Yeah, it's because, I just live for pinning. I mean, pinning is my thing.
That's how you know you're making progress, right?
I hate pinning.
I know. I'm with you 100%.
And I still sometimes look at my gear schedule and I go, oh, God, I got a pin today. It's just not something I've ever enjoyed at all.
Dude, and we've been getting more questions about, like, everyday microdosing of test E. I'm like, why? I don't want to do that. Like, for me personally, that was my answer. I just don't want to continue to take a shot. Like, even on TRT, I'm like, once a week? Come on.
Maybe if you're new to it, it's not as laborious, or not laborious, but it's not as big of an issue. And but I've just been pinning for so many. There are so many other things that I would rather do. Fork in the eye sounds more appealing sometimes than taking gear. And too, part of it is, excuse me, if you're taking more gear, I happen to be taking a lot more gear right now with this cut phase than I have in a very long time. And honestly, it's like you run out of places to put it. It's just not fun. I don't like it, and I don't like it.
I don't like it, and
I don't
like it. That's the two good reasons.
Yeah.
Speaking of that's pin day for me.
Let me see what else we got here. Have you used food allergy insensitivity tests personally or with clients? Value or recommendations?
Take it, Scotty.
I've never done it for myself. I'm trying to. I know I have had a couple people over the years that have done them, but to be honest, I can only think of one really off the top of my head for sure. Was the person thought they had some food allergies? We discussed it, and they're like, "Yeah, if you have an allergic reaction to something, I mean, it's pretty obvious if you're allergic to it. As long as you can isolate that." And I remember it was something new in the diet, and the person thought they had some reactions, and so we isolated. I just said, "Hey, what in this diet have you never eaten before?"
Yeah.
And there was like 2 things. Okay, well, we're going to try one of them by itself and another one by itself. And it was the second one, I believe, that they had some issues with, and we just took it out. So I don't know if there was any reason to take the test.
Boom.
You can generally figure this stuff out on your own.
Boom.
But
yeah.
Then another person I know took the test, and it wasn't really. It was kind of. It's like taking a polygraph. It's not really that super conclusive sometimes,
right?
And it can actually cause more confusion than answers. to some people. I don't know. I'm not that experienced with them, but in that regard, it was just like, okay, that's telling me less. That's not giving me direct black and white information.
Yeah, it's not in my wheelhouse either. I've never had a problem personally, and I think that to piggyback off what Scott's saying, a lot of people, whether it be clients or bodybuilders, tend to eat roughly the same 5 to 7 foods 95% of the time. Anyway, it's pretty easy, I think, to figure out what is causing you problems because changes don't happen daily, sometimes even weekly with different food sources. We tend to keep the same food sources. So it becomes a little bit more obvious, or it's easier to figure out, if a food is causing an issue. Now, I don't know about allergies as much, but I'm going to give you an example of a situation I had. I'm not big on eggs or egg whites, but I did change my pre-workout to using egg whites with a little bit of chicken just for a change of pace about a month and a half ago. And I would probably for the first week and a half, I couldn't leave for the gym right away because I would, after about 30 minutes, I would basically just have to violently shit.
Oh yeah.
Like just it. So it was the egg whites. My body wasn't used to them, which is silly in a sense or illogical because I have egg white protein in my Team Skip blend. So it's not like my body doesn't see egg white protein, but the food itself, the actual liquid egg whites was an issue until I became kind of accustomed to it after a couple weeks, and then it's fine. Now, I still don't leave for Miami because I don't want to be halfway to Miami and have to shit alongside the interstate. It's just not something that's terribly appealing to me, but I make sure I take me a nice roll of toilet paper with me just in case I have to. But things like that will happen. I don't even know if that's necessarily an allergy. It just could simply be, so you kind of have to define allergy. I have had clients, though, a couple clients within the last year or so. If Anne's listening, she's had some issues that started after a cut phase where she became, all signs were pointing towards there was something going on with allergies with specific foods, but it's so out of my wheelhouse that I don't like to try to figure that out. I'm more comfortable with a client in a situation like that going to a medical professional to try to get those things worked out than to me try to guess, and it's just not in my wheelhouse. It's beyond my scope of practice, and I don't pretend that it's something that I know about.
Hey, I have a ton of respect for that because the last year or so, especially, knowing Victoria, I've learned how deep reading lab work, for instance, goes. But nowadays, there's so many coaches that are just like, oh yeah, send your labs over, send this over, get these tests done. I'll evaluate them for you. Man, I've seen YouTube videos where there's a kid who's maybe 19. He's talking about pro hormones, and he's like, and if you have lab work, send it over to me and I'll evaluate it for you. It's I think it's really important to recognize our limitations too. And hell yeah, man, go to somebody that's their job, that's what they went to school for. I think that makes a bunch of sense. And I'm totally on board too with, I think you guys are both right too with an elimination diet, that's the easiest way. Before we did this show, I asked Victoria her thoughts on allergy testing, and that was what she suggested too. She further said too that sometimes the allergy testing isn't necessarily kind of what you were saying, Scott, isn't necessarily going to be, it's not going to tell you what you need to know. Like if you were, celiac, but then you're not eating wheat, then you're not going to show you're having an allergic reaction to something you're not eating. So you're not going to see those antibodies. It's just, I think that that's the easiest way is you remove the eggs and see if that does anything. If that doesn't do anything, then remove, the dairy or whatever, go from there.
You got to be smart about it too. Like with a person that I dealt with that had some allergic reaction, it was real minor. I mean, if that person would have said, hey, my tongue swelled up, my eyes closed,
right,
and I had hives all over my body, I wouldn't have been like, well, let's try and figure out what did it. It'd be like, hey, you need to seek some professional help,
That's a very good point because an allergy versus in like a food that you're not very tolerant of are two entirely different things. People will eat oats and all of a sudden they shit and they're like, oh my gosh, it doesn't sit very well in my stomach. Well, you just may not do well with that amount of fiber with that specific food. That doesn't mean, like you said, you don't have a swollen tongue. You're not breaking out in hives. There's not that doesn't mean that it's an allergy or an allergic reaction. It just means that you don't tolerate. Milk is another good example. Lactose is not processed by 95% of adults very well at all. And even in the 5%, just because you don't shit your pants after you drink milk doesn't mean that you're necessarily lactose tolerant. It just means that you're more tolerant than most people. So it's not necessarily an allergy. It's just a food that your body doesn't tolerate very well. And we all have those. We all have those different foods. You work with enough clients, you find out that there's some people who just can't tolerate those, which is another reason that I use a list of foods for my clients to choose from instead of saying, eat this and this amount, eat this and this amount, because sometimes people just don't tolerate those specific foods very well.
All right. Let's see. My father is 62 and he wants to get on TRT. However, 2 different doctors have turned him down because his test levels were just a little bit above the normal range. What is his best option moving forward?
Another doctor.
Yeah. Well, so his test levels could have been like 100 because he's 62. The range is pretty low.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So I mean, I've prescribe TRT and HRT, but I think you just have to. You're going to get in the community medical community. You're going to get. It's like a bell curve. You're going to get. I think more so now. I'm just going to generalize it. Maybe 30% of them or so are pro replacement. Then you've got about 30% on the other end that are just like anti, any kind of hormone replacement. And then you've got kind of a 40% middle that either are not very versed or don't really, it doesn't come into their practice too often. So I'm telling you right now, if you want to find a doctor who does TRT, call a pharmacy in your area that does high volume, a Walgreens or something, and ask them, what doctors do you get prescriptions from that prescribe testosterone? And they're going to tell you because they want your business too. And then you can go find the doctor that's pro hormone replacement and get whatever needs you may need. Yeah. That's the best way to do it.
It's not the 1970s anymore where, you go to the doctor that your parents went to. I remember going when I was 12 or 14, just started working out, and this old motherfucker, Dr. Yanatelli, and he was damn near ready to retire, and he had been my parents' doctor forever and told me that, and I'm not kidding, protein powder was the devil's food.
Can we get him on the show?
And I think he's dead.
Probably dead.
Yeah, but that right there was off-putting to me even at a young age because I thought, wow, what a stupid thing to say to somebody. So we live in a time now where you can basically window shop for your doctor. I've always said this: if you want something from your doctor, you're going to find one that will agree with you, unless it's just bizarre. But when it comes to TRT or hormone replacement, you just got to shop. And some people will say, well, I'm in a HMO and I don't have. You'll find you just got to look. You got to get resourceful and you just got to look. You got to ask your friends. You got to talk and meet with a bunch of. And if they aren't telling you what you want to hear, walk out. If they sit there in judgment and you want to be on TRT and you don't need, just walk out. I don't listen to, and call it arrogance, whatever. I don't listen to doctors. I've walked out of a urgent care when the guy told me that I was on steroids without asking me anything about my history or my past. And he's like, where are you going? I said, I'm not going to sit here and have you speculate and preach to me. You're 35 years old. I don't know that you know much about steroids or steroid use anyway. And you haven't asked me one thing about use, history, nothing. You just told me that that's what's causing my problems.
Oh, yeah.
And he apologized. He's like, no, sit down. Let's talk about it.
Huh.
So I was walking out. That type of shit. I've been doing this too long. I don't want to deal with any crap. You can window shop. You can come up with a doctor and find a doctor that will prescribe you HRT, especially at that age.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if they won't, you know what? Then you get your own shit.
All your pharmacy, they'll tell you where to go.
Do your blood panel, get your own shit, do your blood panels, and call on the 19-year-old kid on the internet to read your labs for you. I mean, come on. There's options. You got to be resourceful.
Skip is also tackling mini cuts over at Intense Muscle. That could be a cool topic.
Mm-hmm. I don't want to get into it too much. I'm just going to say I don't like them.
You don't like them?
No, I don't like them. You're in a growth phase. It's time to grow. No. You just have to be disciplined. And you got to keep trying. What happens with mini cuts is, and I don't want to give away too much because obviously it's an expert panel thing, and I want to be okay. But if you're disciplined and you're in a growth phase, you stay in your growth phase. It's when you go into a mini cut, unless it's a sensitivity issue, an insulin sensitivity issue, you're trying to reset, that's different. But it has to be very short, because anytime you're not in a growth phase, you're not growing. So there's that. I'll leave it at that. But that should get pretty detailed with the experts chiming in. With the holiday, I didn't expect too much of a response from them this weekend. So hopefully by midweek, people will start chiming in. It should be a pretty good discussion.
Cool. That's over at Intense Muscle, guys. Check out the message board. You can see that and a bunch more. Scott, any thoughts on that one?
Mini cuts?
Mini cuts. Not like mini donuts.
Dumb. I don't think there's any use in it.
No? What about if you're getting overweight? What about if you're starting to get too
that's
fat?
More than a mini cut.
Yeah?
Yeah, no shit. That's just having a really bad...
Be like me saying I need a mini cut right now. That's a major cut.
That's just having a poor growth plan or a poor off-season plan if you're getting to that point. But again, I don't want to counter any of the other, there may be other experts and other people who are very good at what they do in this industry that feel that there is significance to it. And that's the cool thing with discussions like this, is not everybody's going to have the same answer, and not everybody's going to have the same, thoughts on topics like that.
All right. We're going to go off topic for a second just so I can close out this block of questions I have in front of me. You could only use one condiment for the rest of your life. What do you choose? Scott.
Spicy ketchup from Whataburger.
Skip.
Soy sauce.
Soy sauce. Spicy ketchup. I never have been to Whataburger before.
Oh.
I haven't either. And I'm a burger aficionado, but I try to avoid chains. I have heard that it's very good.
I mean, it's I wouldn't put it up against like a prime Angus burger from a restaurant, but it's
right. But for a chain,
yeah, it's pretty good.
Is that a Texas thing? Because
yeah.
I haven't seen many. I don't know if we had any in Colorado, but I haven't seen them down here either.
I think there's a few like in Arkansas, bordering states, Louisiana, Oklahoma, maybe like across the border.
I'm a gourmet burger guy, but I will tell you real quick, Shake Shack is one of my favorite chains. As far as if you're going to put them up there with like Five Guys or something like that, I do like Shake Shack.
I've never been. I think we have a Shake Shack here. We don't have a Whataburger. I'll have to check Shake Shack out then.
Yeah, they're not tons of different sauces, flavors. It's just a really good. It's just a good basic burger.
Huh. Let's see here. Skip, I understand that every person is different. However, what do you use to determine when it's time to start skip loading while dieting? I guess we could probably even broaden that and say, when is it time to load, period?
Yeah, it's depletion. I just spit when I did that. So hopefully the high quality video will show that spit came out of my mouth when I said that.
You look crystal clear today, by the way. For whatever reason, the internet gods are in our favor.
I did a speed test and it only pinged 3 times. So apparently there was an issue last time, and I don't know what the hell it was because I'm hardwired, but yeah. It was a solid connection. So like it's supposed to be. But anyway, it's depletion. It's all based around depletion, and the more depleted, the easiest way to tell, honestly, if you're just starting out, is if your workouts start to really suffer, your strength starts to fall, your the muscle contractions aren't as strong, to some degree the pump, but some people will get a pump no matter what. It just takes them 3 more sets than usual to get a good. So it's not always the pump. Muscular contractions, if they're not hard, if your strength is down, or here's another way to explain it. If you start off a set, you're like, oh, these feel really good. Then all of a sudden you get to rep 8 and you're fighting to come out of the hole on squat, and you're like all of a sudden just like, oh my God, like you're just barely moving. That's usually an indication of depletion as well. So the depletion, that's all it really comes down to. A lot of people will say it's body fat levels, but it's not. You can be depleted. I actually heard somebody say this the other day, and I had a client tell me this actually, that someone told him that it's body fat related, that you cannot be depleted if your body fat levels are not low. And I had to laugh at that, because that's just That's just about one of the most incorrect things I think I've heard stated in a long time. But depletion is just muscle glycogen, and you can absolutely be depleted and fat. So, people will say, well, you shouldn't be skip loading if you're fat, and that's not true either. I've seen people over 300 pounds starting out, and within 2 weeks they're loading and they're peeling off body fat like they're melting butter in a pan. So it just depends. The skip loading will change a little bit. Now I'll make this point and then leave it alone, because we talk about skip loading a lot, which I appreciate the questions and everything, and I want to make sure everybody understands it, but I also don't want to beat it into the ground. Skip loading is when it comes to when you skip load and that sort of shit, it's all about depletion. Excuse me. Damn it. I hate to do that. I usually turn off my mic. I apologize. But it comes down to depletion, and you do not have to wait very long into a cutting phase. And it's just knowing whether you're depleted or not. And if you don't, you need somebody to be able to tell you, because a lot of times the brain will tell you, I'm hungry, therefore I'm depleted. And that is not the case. Sometimes there's a connection between hunger and depletion, but not always.
Yeah, I know for some people, even hunger starts going down, and that's one of the signs that they need a refeed of some type, Yeah,
it's much easier, and I'm not, this isn't a upsell, hey, come work with me. But anybody who does any type of refeed or cheat meal, it's still based on the same premise. It's based on the metabolism slowing down and you being depleted and basically throwing gas on a fire to get things going again or get your metabolism amped up. So anybody with good experience of working with clients over the long haul will be able to make those decisions for you so that the timing is right, the length of time and the amount of food that you're loading is correct, so that your psyche doesn't play into how much you're actually loading. And it will. A lot of times it will. I have battled with it myself before.
I bet.
So, even after doing it for 20 years. So it's very difficult to remove your psyche from that decision of how long to load and how much to load. So if if you're in a situation where you can't get it figured out, then pay somebody to figure it out for you. That's the best way to do it.
There you go. And you know what? That's a learning experience too, because I feel like, for me at least, I've learned a lot through having somebody else tell me when to do something. I come out of that, and then I can better adjust myself later, on my own.
And it's very black and white. It's very black and white. You don't have to question your decision.
Yeah.
Did I go long enough? Did I not? And there becomes this constant running wheel, I guess, in your head where you're just questioning everything. So
let's see here. High hematocrit, another one directed at Skip. I remember I remember you battled high hematocrit / hemoglobin issues for a while, and you thought it may have been from a melanotin issue. Do you think it was Colorado elevation or a bit of both? How do numbers look now that you are living in a state with zero elevation?
Yeah, I go into detail quite in depth with a lot of the stuff on the TRT bodybuilding DVD, but in a nutshell, the elevation played a huge role, but at a higher elevation, you have higher parameters that you're allowed. So your hematocrit and RBC and hemoglobin can be higher because of the elevation. I still was so out of range. Melanotan, for the older demographic, can play a part in those numbers being higher. So it was a combination of a lot of things. The elevation, I'm sure the melanotan played a part, but the best way to explain it is, now that I'm at sea level, I literally have had zero problems, none. So I'm happy for that. Otherwise, I wouldn't be back on cycle. I'd still be TRT, which I still get blasted for TRT bodybuilding, because someone has to remind me every now and then on social media that I'm not TRT and that I'm, misleading. It's like, I have a TRT bodybuilding DVD that I still have to market and keep out there. That's why that hashtag is there. I'm not pretending to be TRT. I've been very, very transparent and very detailed. And, and people will say, well, I haven't heard anything. Well, that's not my problem. I put the information out there. If you haven't seen it, that's not on me. It's out there. I've been with Elite now for 7 years. I detail that shit a lot. So it is.
Skip, the reality is a lot of people have been jumping on that bandwagon of using the TRT hashtag.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, don't get me going on that either. Everybody does this much gear too, or at least they say they do this much gear. God damn, he is right on time all the time.
He is. Is that your guy out there, Scott?
He's back at work. Yep.
All right. Let's see. What else do we have here? I know Skip posted up a thread as well. We've got a bunch of stuff over here on the live feed. Can donating blood help to reduce blood pressure? Scott?
Temporarily,
yeah,
but it's not a long-term fix.
I mean, if you had like high hematocrit, for instance, thick blood, could that cause high blood pressure?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. So
you're making
if it was
harder to pump thicker, more viscous blood through your veins. Absolutely.
Donating blood is only a temporary, and it's depending on the person. It can make mild changes in your blood pressure.
Yeah, I guess it depends on the cause then.
Yeah, it's not going to solve any long-term problem.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm getting anxiety. Let's see. I can actually post this one up too. Boom. I'm getting anxiety issues after taking finasteride. Stopping Fin isn't an option. So to try and work out what's causing this, I've taken a 24-hour cortisol urine test, and it's come back normal. What other hormones might be causing this? Can you think of any other blood tests I can take to work out what's happening?
Clen, don't know if he's using it, but Clen caused anxiety within 2 days. Oh, huge. Yeah.
Say he's taking finasteride. He has anxiety now, but he asked if he could take something else to counter it.
No,
I was wondering if it could be something else and not the finasteride. If I'm not mistaken, is that right,
he's saying.
Scott?
Well, he's saying he's taking finasteride. He says he believes, first of all, that the finasteride is causing the issue. He says, I'm getting anxiety issues after using finasteride, but he has no plan on stopping the finasteride. He says it's not an option. So he's trying to pinpoint like what's causing this anxiety, like what's happening in his body. I got something I can throw out there, and I'm using this topical finasteride. Check it out. There's studies about topical finasteride now. It doesn't affect you systemically, obviously, like taking a pill would, and it's proving to work. So if you can get a similar response by using it topically, I mean, that's really the route to go, in my opinion. I don't want to mess around with taking finasteride with all the potential side effects that can go along with it, finasteride syndrome and all of that. I don't even want to deal. But in DHT, it's an important hormone in my body. I don't know what his reasoning is, if it's anything outside of hair loss, but if you're working on keeping a head of hair, I would at least give it a try. I know that compounding pharmacies are putting it together. Personally, I'm just dissolving the pills in a bottle of minoxidil, and then I apply that every day. So there's that.
And I mean, if you're taking finasteride, you're altering, the hormone, the chemistry of your body, and that's, your brain gets affected by that. So, I don't think I've ever heard anybody get anxiety from finasteride before, but I mean, it's possible.
Yeah. It's an odd one, right?
Yeah.
Let's see here. I know we have a bunch more here, and I have to look through here a lot. We've got a lot of really great feedback throughout the show. So I'm sifting through that to find the questions. Here we go. What do you guys think about long-term test use, cruising, while using Arimidex? Is ADEX needed, or is it an individual basis? Dosage and frequency he's also interested in. So if you're on TRT, I guess, or cruising, do you need to take Arimidex with that? I feel like we talked about this recently.
Yeah, you get your labs and see where your estradiol numbers are, and then judge from there, because some people need more than others. Obviously Aromacin is a better route to go, but most people can't get Aromacin in a prescription. Men,
right? It's
very difficult, and if you have to pay cash for it, it's massively expensive.
Well, through like insurance and things like that, but it's not through research companies. It's actually very well the cost really isn't all that bad. I stand on my position because we did have this discussion a couple shows ago. I stand on with my position, basically saying that at least the large. And I agree with Scott. Find out where your estradiol levels are. That will tell you specifically whether you will need it or you don't need it, as far as a Arimidex or an anti-estrogen is concerned. But I still stand on the fact that the large majority of people on TRT do not need an anti-estrogen if the TRT is actually TRT dosing and not 300 or 400 milligrams of test a week.
Ooh, we had a long-time listener here. It's Harvey. I don't really remember this question completely, but he said he asked a question. He's a stonemason. He asked a question about being a stonemason and lifting, like on one of the really, really early episodes.
I remember that.
He said, "Shout out from Scotland." Yep, yeah. You got it. Yeah, you remember that one, huh?
Yeah.
And it was funny. I went back. So, we mentioned Intense Muscle. I made a post over there today to let everybody know that we were doing this show. And I tried to find one of the other threads I made about blood, sweat, and gear, which I didn't find it. But I did a search. And in that search, I found a thread that Skip made like 3-4 years ago, saying, "Hey, I'm going on Advices Radio with S2H. We're going to do an interview with Scott McNally today. If you guys want to check it out."
That's funny.
And then I listened. You had the clip, I think, or you had the link up there, and I listened to it. It was good stuff, man. That was like the first time that we ever united.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. So we had that anxiety question. We have a question about Skip and his melanotin, related to his melanotin use, really. Scott Stevenson. He says, "I was wondering if and how often it is assumed that Skip is Spanish-speaking since he has been living in Miami area, i.e., if he's ever simply approached and spoken to in Spanish, presuming it to be his mother tongue."
Well, anytime in Miami, I would say that half of the people that I run into in the gyms down there, some of them don't even speak English at all. Yeah. or they just pretend they don't when you go to talk to them. I would imagine that I probably do. I don't know that anybody's approached me, though, speaking in Spanish, but I'm sure that a lot of people would not think that I am 65% German. I'm sure they have me as maybe not Puerto Rican, but certainly Hispanic, I would imagine.
All right. We've got Novadex for contest dryness alongside Arimidex or separate. Do you guys ever use Novadex for contest prep dryness?
Females.
Yeah.
Guys, no. Not really.
I've used it years ago, and I figured out very quickly, and this is just my opinion. Other people may have different opinions, other trainers, that sort of thing. There's nothing with Novadex that made me any drier. You're not decreasing estrogen. Even if estrogen itself were to, or the lack of estrogen were to make you drier, you're not decreasing estrogen levels. You're just keeping it from locking into breast tissue. So it's not really going to have much of any impact, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I'm not a big fan of Novadex.
It's an inhibitor, a binding inhibitor.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of Novadex in general. There are too many questions about it impacting IGF levels. If you control your estrogen or the amount of estrogen that your body produces or is circulating anyway, then you the large majority of the time, unless you're just super sensitive to estrogen in the breast area, I can't see much of a reason that you would need Novadex. And I know that there, John Meadows, and there are other people who maybe don't swear by Novadex, but do have more positive things to say about it, but I don't.
Yeah. All right. I'm just kind of sifting around here to see what else we have. Oh, we had Mrs. Skip chimed in. I think she was talking about the gay guys. She said they wolf whistle at him. Do you get wolf whistles from the gay guys, Skip?
Mrs. Skip chimed in like right now, live.
She did a little while ago. I missed it. Yeah.
She's in Wisconsin with all of my kids for my daughter's birthday, so she's probably drunk.
What's up, Mrs. Skip? If you want to join the show, drunk, we'd love to have you. Just give me a call. We'll plug you right in. Yeah.
Bring her on.
All right. Let's see. What else do we have here? we're wrapping up here. We've got another. This will be a fun one, I think, to close on. Story time. What's the most gear that you've heard one person run, dose wise? On one of Dante's posts, he talks about how Titus was mental for high gear. Either you guys are welcome to start this.
Oh man, I know the person I'm thinking of. I just can't remember how much it was.
Okay.
Do we name the person? Because I don't know if I want to name the person because the information was okay.
Is he on the show? Let me ask you that. Is he on the show?
No, he's not on the show. Mine's pretty up there right now. But nonetheless, the person who had taken second in the Olympia several times and then finally pulled out and decided not to continue with bodybuilding anymore was upwards of 10 grams. And that was not from his mouth. That was from the person who was beating him consistently. So obviously I'm being careful here because I don't want any problems with me saying this, but it was so much of an issue, and it was brought to the forefront because this person who was taking 10 grams of gear a week was so waterlogged and had such bad edema that he was basically ready for the show, but was holding so much water in his ankles that he had to actually cut the gear volume to get rid of the water.
Wow.
Yeah. So take that for what it's worth. It was not straight from his mouth. It was from the mouth of the person who beat him repeatedly. So, it could be argued that that person just didn't like him. Could very well be. But there was it was actually a topic at that time in the bodybuilding because he was working with a well-known trainer at that time, who I don't want to mention either. And it was not the typical, Acetos or Hani or, Chad Nichols. It was somebody else. And it was an issue because no one could figure out, and they were trying to speculate as to why he looked the way he did. And then when I heard that, I thought, well, shit, that explains it right there.
That's a lot of gear, man.
It is a lot of gear, ton of gear.
How about you, Scott?
Yeah, I know a guy who was taking, I think 7 or 8 grams a week. He was taking 20 or 25 IUs of GH a day.
Whew.
And then he almost died at the show because he took a blister pack of Lasix and like a half of one of Diazide. And he had a heart attack. But I remember seeing him at the gym. I was like, bro, what do you got going on here? He's like, nothing, and then he finally admitted to it.
Yeah.
And because he was getting like just freaky, weird looking, like real quick and growing. And then he gobbled that blister pack of Lasix before the morning show, and that was lights out, baby.
Wow.
Send him home.
I don't know how you don't die from that.
Yeah,
he
no
had
kidding.
a heart attack. He almost died.
Huh.
Yeah.
I know.
He was 6 months pregnant on stage.
Was he big? Like what weight class are we talking?
Heavyweight.
So not like he wasn't like pro. I mean, depending on how tall he was, but
like a regional pro qualifier show. He was about 5'8". He weighed in at, I think, at 226. So, he probably would have won. And then he showed up morning show on the stage, and he looked like literally like the distension was just unreal. It was like he was 6 months pregnant.
Wow.
Ran back there and got him. Like, dude, what'd you do? Nothing. Took him, wouldn't go to the ER, and he had a heart attack in his driveway the next morning. I think it was. Fell down,
shit.
Couldn't get up. Till whole body was locked up.
Yeah,
almost died. His kidney numbers were like 8,000. Like something like it was almost like, is that even a real number?
Wow.
It was just, you're talking about high creatinine levels. His were like off the chart.
Yeah.
He almost died.
That's
I can
crazy.
say in my experience, I believe that people who are trying to turn pro or amateurs in general take far more gear than the pros.
I was just thinking that, when he said that about being a heavyweight and, he wasn't the biggest guy. I think that that's true too. A lot of people, I think, assume they look at Phil Heath, or whoever, and they're like, oh, that guy's got to take a ton to look like that. But I think I've seen a lot more middleweights that are really doing things they shouldn't,
Yep.
And when I knew Phil, I've said this a million times over, when I knew Phil, he did not take a ton of gear.
I bet not.
People would be shocked at the amount of gear that he took and the compounds that he took. And I've said a million times over, I say it again, he turned pro not knowing what an anti-estrogen was. I had to explain it to him.
Oh, God.
That's pretty crazy. And it comes to the fact that this is it's a game of genetics, and he won the genetic lottery in that sense, which is not to say or imply that he has not worked his ass off, and because he clearly has.
Yeah.
But there is such a massive genetic component here that I think when you get to the pros, I think that's why it was so surprising to me that one pro was dosing at 10 grams, because that's just not very typical of pro level physiques, because they've got such a genetic advantage. It's the guys coming up with almost not necessarily shitty genetics, but average or mediocre genetics, who are willing to put everything on the line to try to get to that pro level.
Yeah. I know Dave Crossland, when I first met him, he had finished doing the Under Construction 2 film. That was the movie where he pushed up to 415 pounds. And it wasn't a pretty 415. Like, he looked good at 385, but he looked great at 365, I think it was. But 415, he was just like sloppy, a ton of water, and then his kidney started shutting down, and it got bad. But after
How tall is he?
He's tall.
6'3"?
He's tall.
6'4"?
I don't know if he's 6'4", but he's over 6 foot. He's just like a giant man, in every thought of the word. But when I first met him, he was done with all that. And he was like, yeah, I'm gonna run another cycle here pretty soon. And he had his under construction money, is what he's told me this on the show. Because I asked him, I was like, how did you finance that? He was like, so I decided, I'm just gonna run growth. I'm gonna run like test, probably like a gram, and I'm gonna run growth at 25 units of farm grade growth every day.
Whew. Wow.
His thought was he says he's a big firm believer now that growth is not that great. He was like, he went by the idea that, we've been told that, like, how much growth should you run? The answer being, how much can you afford? You've heard a lot of people say that. So he took that to the test, and he ran 25 units of farm grade growth. And he said that the growth, the progress that he made from that wasn't really that great. He said he got like a lot of fluid retention, a lot of intracellular retention, but like the actual muscle mass, that it didn't translate.
I can't imagine what that did to the size of his heart. Yikes. Yeah. Now, at the same time, that's the easiest way to find out if shit works. If you're not sure if you want to get into growth hormone, don't start at 2 IU. Go big. See if it works.
Start at 25. Ooh.
Yeah, maybe not 25, but run it, and especially farm grade. Holy shit. But run it for a while and see, because if it's not spectacular, then he has probably, even though he spent a lot of money doing that, he probably has saved more money not doing it since then, because he found out it wasn't worth the cost to benefit. So, there's that too.
I don't know how most people can hold on to a bar or their steering wheel or anything with that much growth.
Yeah, or sleep. How do you say? I've been on growth at nowhere near those doses, and I have to get up at night, not just my hands, but from the shoulder down. My and it's not just rolling over. A lot of people, if you get your hands fall asleep, you roll over, you move them, you're fine. Right. I'd have to actually get up and walk around for 2 or 3 minutes because they hurt. They flat out fucking hurt. Yeah. And then go back to bed for another couple, 2-3 hours. I ended up switching away from that growth hormone, let me tell you.
What kind of dosing was that at?
That was only at like 6 or 8.
Okay. Yeah.
I want to say probably 6, but it was brutal. I mean, I had constant, maybe not bad edema, but it was enough that I was constantly holding water, and the second I stopped using it, within a week, I was hard as fuck. Yeah. So I was like, holy crap, I was holding more water than I even thought that I was, which is where that comes into play. It's the pressure from the water retention that is pressing against the nerves in your wrist, or in my situation, in the arm, that is making it numb, and it's, fucking with circulation and everything else. So it's the nerves. It's why your hands fall asleep. It's the carpal the carpal nerve and, you know, shit like that. I don't know if that's even the name of the fucking nerve, but you get what I'm saying. The carpal tunnel, the nerves into your hands, that sort of thing, they become compressed, and that's where you get that feeling. I'm sitting here, I keep moving my hands right now because my hands are falling asleep while I'm sitting up. And I'm like, what the fuck? What is the deal here?
6 to 8 is about the range I think myself, a lot of people run into where you start having problems. You know, I mean, I would get to the point one time where I couldn't close my hands to hold on to things.
My fingers will click. My pinky, when I'll curl it in, and then when I bring it out, it'll kind of click like it's
stuck,
not tracking right. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we got everything. I know I had to have missed a question or two here. Maybe I should.
You'll hear about it.
I know.
Check
Maybe I should head over to look to see if there are any comments on the previous YouTube. Oh, there are a couple. Maybe we'll hit this really quick then, just to save some face. Maybe there wasn't. A lot of banter here. I think we're good. Oh, wait. We have one of our listeners over at YouTube does have a question, so we shall tackle this one. I'm curious on the effects of one's cortisol if you choose to split up your training throughout the day. Typically, we all train once a day, twice maybe for those in prep. But if you were training a specific body part that you were having trouble with, and you say split it up to training, you split up your training into 3 half-hour sessions rather than an hour and a half all at once. Could you possibly grow more effectively due to the lack of cortisol? Just curious on your thoughts. I have been splitting up my workouts out throughout the day during quarantine. Was wondering if there were possible long-term benefits to this.
Want it, Scotty? Because I say no.
Whatever you say, I'm going to agree with.
I say that it's.
I know what you're going to say.
On paper, I think it's great. On paper, it makes it look like cortisol and recovery and energy. It doesn't pan out that way, and it ends up being a giant waste of time. You really can't plan or structure. Where do you put your post-workout? You know, how do you deal with nutrition at that point? The other thing is when you split up your workouts like that, you end up doing more volume than you would otherwise. It's like if you were going to do 8 sets of chest and 8 sets of shoulders in one session, you're not going to come in and do 8 sets of shoulders. You're going to do 10 or 12 because you have more energy, and psychologically you feel like you're not doing anything. It's very difficult to pull back the reins at that point because you just don't feel like you're doing enough. I don't.
Repair is a problem too.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you're breaking a muscle down. Now blood's got to flow to repair. If you're moving it around all different body parts all day long,
right,
you're not going to get good recovery.
Yeah, and he's talking about 3. I'm even saying 2. I just think it's overkill, unless there's like one exception. If you are a freak, if you are a genetic freak and you can recover insanely well, then I guess you can do. But anytime you're in the gym training, you're not eating. Anytime you're training, blood flow to your digestive tract is slowed. So the more times you train, you're kind of cutting into digestion a little bit and stuff. To train, get your ass out. I don't think there's anything you can accomplish in one session that you would otherwise benefit from splitting it into 2 sessions. Whether it be into cutting is even worse, because I think it becomes, and I've done it myself. I mean, I did it a couple years ago, and it made it that much easier for me to drive myself into the ground.
I could see that. So, yeah.
He's talking about growth, and I understand that, just flat out growth. But if you can't, I'd go so far as to say this: if you can't create a stimulus for growth in one session, then you need to take up a different sport.
Fair enough. All right.
Damn.
Well, that closes us out.
Yeah, and it's not a shot at him. All I'm saying is I'm just trying to make the point and trying to be very blunt about it. You can accomplish everything you need to accomplish in one session. If you feel like you have to split it up, I just think you're wrong.
Hey, one thing on that too is the majority of people I've seen that split their training up or 2 or 3 times a day, it's out of an obsession. Like it's a psychological obsession more than it's an actual need. Like I guess there's some people out there that might only have 20 minutes 3 times a day to do anything other than sleep and work or something, but it's mostly out of OCD, excessive compulsive behavior.
That makes sense. Yeah. Especially now you're quarantined, you're at home. You're like, I'll just start training 3 times a day. It'll be awesome.
I got that question from a couple of my clients. They're like, well, I don't have anything better to do. Would I benefit from? No.
Yeah.
You wouldn't. Be better off sitting there watching Netflix, staying on your diet, and training once a day.
Yeah. You get that too. Like, I think sometimes I'll get that from like people who are newer that'll be like, they think that like eventually they're going to go to 2-a-days. I don't know anybody in bodybuilding who does that really. I mean, maybe there's been some random situations, but in general, the vast majority of people I know, like even pro level, aren't doing 2 weight training sessions a day.
Right. And it's on the surface, it sounds like a very logical, well, if I train more and I train more frequently, I'll grow more, but it's counterproductive. It's not that simple.
Yeah. All right. Well, that wraps us up on questions. Skip, how's your diet and everything going? You're looking lean. Good. You look real lean.
Yeah, I'm getting there.
Yeah.
I have to go do my nightly walk through Victoria Park, and I'll hit the gym at 2 or 3 a.m. The gyms here are finally opening up. They opened up a couple weeks ago, only to be shut down. They were opened by the city and then shut down by the county 3 days later, but the county finally came back after 5 more days and said, we only needed 5 more days. And now the virus is not a concern, so we're going to it was a political move by the county. So everything opens up on Tuesday. So I'll be training a little bit more here locally and not having to train at 2 or 3 in the morning in Miami, which I have enjoyed. I'm not going to lie, but I also will save a couple hours a day of commute as well and can get back on a little different schedule. But things are going well. I feel pretty good. I'm injury free and progress has been very good. The only complaint I have is I just hate skip loading at this point because it's to the point where the more I eat, the leaner I get. And
holy shit.
Miserable. Absolutely miserable.
All that French toast.
Yeah, I feel for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's good for about a half a meal, and then the rest of the day, I've loaded 2 days in a row, a couple times over the last 3 or 4 weeks, and it's just brutal. It's just horrible. And I know that sounds like a guy, that's what you're complaining about, but it's rough. Other than that, everything's great. I'm
going to see if I can get some like violin music to play in the background while you're talking about like having to eat all that French toast and stuff.
Well, what it'll do is it'll give a reason for people to give shitty comments. Kept sitting over here and they were busting on me. Somebody was busting on me on my coach logs because I'm not posting videos. So I'm making all these wild claims about how strong I am and how lean I am and everything, which I didn't think I was making wild claims. I just said that things are going better than they have in a long time in a cutting phase. But I can't post videos and I can't post training shit because I'm not supposed to be in the gym, and I'm not going to put the owner of that gym in jeopardy because it's very clear where I'm training if I post any training videos. So the few people who have decided to jump on the bandwagon and post shitty stuff after my coach logs, they can eat a dick. And
that's you, Scott.
It is what it is. Yeah, exactly.
Does this mean you're actually going to show up for the show this time?
Aliases. I know, exactly. Well, I got that one too. They're like, well,
I'm serious.
Your MO is that you probably will bail. It's like, wow, I love the support. Thank you. So things are going well. We'll see, but everything keeps getting pushed. Right now it's 9 weeks and 16 weeks.
Okay.
And I am in pretty good position. So we'll see.
Scott, how's the shutdown going down there in Texas? Are you guys opened all back up, back to normal?
I guess I didn't do anything different the whole time.
Yeah.
So, yeah. No, I mean, our gym here opened back up, so I started going back. But there really isn't that many people in there. No, I mean, my wife and I went and ate at a restaurant today. You had like one table closed between each one.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, it didn't really affect my life. I didn't really care. A few things, I mean, in work-wise, it slowed some things down, but
yeah,
that's starting to creep back. But no, I mean, just the anxiety over skip loading. That's the only thing that's bothered me. I've been really upset. I curl up and I get my pillow and my blankie, and I get upset. It's hard for me to sleep because I'm thinking about Skip and his 35,000 years in the business and
eating all that French toast
and his skip loading.
It's really hard for Scott to imagine what it's like to be shredded. I think that's the problem.
It is. You know? I mean, I get really, it's really a chilling moments for me at home alone. I mean,
emotional. Yeah.
All right. Well, in that case, let's get out of here, guys. As always, our programming, it's all brought to you by True Nutrition. Go to truenutrition.com. You could use our code ADVICES. They've got something for everybody there. I don't care what your goals are right now. A lot of fantastic proteins. We've got all sorts of pre and intra workout carbs, as well as, what else do they have? They have Team Skip.
They have Team Skip protein. Yeah,
they have Team Skip protein. You got it right there, huh?
Got it right here.
Nice. Check out truenutrition.com. Use our code ADVICES to give us some love. And check out AZOTH. You can go to getazoth.com. You can also go to their Amazon page. I think that they have the best pricing there. So check them out over there. If you do, let me know what you think, because I've been getting a lot of really good response from this stuff. I've been really enjoying it, and I want to hear from you guys too. So for another episode of Blood, Sweat, and Gear, of course, go to teamskip.com. And of course, we mentioned Intense Muscle, the message board. Give some hell to Skip over there. Make a fake account and say some mean things to him. He likes that. And S2H, Skip Hill, I'm Scott McNally. We'll see you soon, guys.
Out.